Hello and welcome to my review of the Aeldari Wraithknight for Warhammer 40,000 from Games Workshop. Now, one of these models will cost you £90. It's a fair chunk of money, and it means that this is the most expensive model that Games Workshop produce for Eldar. It is the same price as a combat patrol, which is kind of like a little army in a box. But the format of this review, as usual, is I will be looking at the miniature and looking at all the detail that it has. Then I will be going through the spare parts, of which you do get a fair few. I'll be going through some size comparisons, and then finally at the end I'll be going through all of the rules for the Wraithknight. First of all, you can probably tell there that it is a tall model. It is in fact a fair bit taller than an Imperial Knight, and if you've got any other Warhammer 40,000 armies, this is probably going to be your largest Warhammer 40,000, well, at least tallest Warhammer 40,000, I say miniature, in your collection. Definitely for Eldar as well. This is how I expected kind of Wraith Lords to be, maybe a little bit smaller than this. It's odd, isn't it, that Wraith Lords are kind of like half the height of these, but these Wraith Knights are taller. I get it though, you know, you've got Imperial Knights, Wraith Knights, and so on. This set comprises of 114 components, which of course is a fair few components less than the normal Imperial Knights kit, which consists of over double, 250 now. But I think that is a bit of an unfair comparison. Yes, the Imperial Knight set is just £10 more expensive, but this consists of fewer parts, is slimmer, taller, and the Imperial Knight set has gone through a number of iterations. This is still in its very first iteration from when it was released about 2012, which meant the Imperial Knight came out after the actual Wraithknight. So let's have a look at the miniature itself then. The pose they've gone for on the box, I think, doesn't really do it justice. I mean, I know they're going for the same Han craft world, but it looks a bit surprised. It's not really aiming its weapon. It kind of looks like it wants to give a handshake, whereas I've gone for a pose. It's striding forwards. It's about to block an attack or do something at least. But yeah, that's what I've gone for. The pose itself, I mean, I've got some work to do on the legs to iron out those gaps, which I've already done on the hips, but I need to do that on the back. So if you see gaps, you know, it's still a work in progress. I just wanted to glue it and set it up. But yeah, the way you get more poses with the legs and the knees and things is to cut all of the like square blocks off, and then you can pose it. It's a bit finicky though, because obviously that's moving, the knee moving and the hips are moving. You know, it is a tricky model to get a good pose for, and even this pose, you know, taxed me to try and get it, you know, striding forwards. The other pose, I'll probably have the knees a bit more bent and have it aiming, because I'll go for the Wraith Cannon and the D Cannon, I think it is. I wanted to go for Star Cannons. You've got the option of multi-lasers, but no, I'm not even going to go there. I'd rather have less shots at better strength and better AP. I've gone for the Ghost Glaive and the, I think, Sun Shield or Shimmer Shield, I think it is, just because I wanted that invulnerable save in combat, and I want it to be, I say, a melee only knight. I want it to go around chopping up other knights and dreadnoughts and things like that, and at least it's got some anti heavy troop weaponry on the top, and that's pretty much it. Would have also been cool to have some kind of missile pack on it somewhere, maybe even out of the chest piece, but you know, it is what it is. The Ghost Glaive is massive. It's a huge sword. It's probably one of the biggest, longest swords out of any miniature that Games Workshop produce. It's amazing. And I like all the armour and the plates. It's just a really, really cool model. Loads of detail going on, especially when you consider this model is sort of, you know, approaching 10 years old. It's fantastic. If you're on the fence about getting one, just pick one up. You know, you can get even more of a discount by using the affiliate link down in the description below. I took far too long in deciding to pick one of these up, so I'm pleased I finally have, and I'm not going to hesitate to pick up a second one as soon as I possibly can. So that is the Wraithknight. Let's have a look at all of these spare parts which I banged on about earlier. So we move the camera down and we look at these and we just pop these out. So there is the other weapon option, or other weapon options. I think the D cannon and the Wraith cannon. That's the other part of it as well. You've got different arms. I could have kind of gone for this arm with the sword. It's up to you. You can put a little magnet in there and magnetize. I think the sword may be the weapon. Other YouTubers done that, that's fine. I go for more of a static pose because I get multiple models and things, and I don't really game that much, so I can kind of get away with that. You've got a different left arm too, so both of these arms are more at a right angle as opposed to these two, which are kind of outstretched. You've got the different weapons at the top, which I think are the shuriken cannons and the multi-lasers. You've got these as well, and you've got blanking plates, so you don't have to pick those weapons at the top. You've got a fist, and you've got another outstretched hand for the right, in case you don't go for the sword. I'll probably have it firing maybe with the fist. I haven't sort of decided on a, I haven't fully decided on a pose. You've also got a fist for the left hand too. So they're all the spare parts, you know, a great deal, but I do question sort of their usefulness maybe, unless you wanted to, you know, equip another one with two of the D cannon weapons, but I don't think you can do that as a war gear option, but they're the spare parts anyway. So size comparisons, of course I've been talking about the Imperial Knight all throughout this video. Let's just throw in an Imperial Knight and give you an idea of just the size of this thing compared to it. So if we just pull back the camera slightly, that gives you an idea. You know, the Imperial Knight is probably sort of chest height maybe. So you've got an extra chest and a head and the weapons and these veins, I want to call them, taller. So just bear that in mind if you're going to get a couple of these, you know, to join a force. Remember, they are a Lord of War choice, so you can only pick one Wraithknight, which does suck, but they are pretty powerful and they would turn the tide of any battle. Compared to a Webgate, you'll be pleased to know you could easily have these popping out of a Webgate, which is nice. The Webgate is, I'd probably say, the tallest Eldar model or fortification, scenery piece, whatever you want to call it, out of everything. You know, I say it dwarfs the Wraithknight. It doesn't really, but it allows a Wraithknight to wander through it. And of course you can get even bigger webway gates as well. But super, how does it compare to a Cerastus Knight, one of the tallest knights that they do? Well, I just so happen to have a Cerastus Knight, of course, a bit dusty, apologies, but there's not much in it really. I'd say full height, Cerastus probably has it. I do have an Atrapos, which is more of a vertical pose, and yeah, I'd say the Atrapos is, I mean, the veins make it taller, but where the shoulders are, both the Cerastus are a bit taller. So definitely it's that middle ground between Imperial Knights and Cerastus, these Wraith Knights. It'd be good to see a few of these go up against some Cerastus Knights. So compared to other Aeldari models, we might as well compare it. We'll go a little bit smaller now, and we'll go for an Avatar of Cain. Absolutely dwarfs the Avatar, brand new Avatar that just came out. Then a Wraith Lord, which you'd think would be, you know, a bit taller than it is, but the Wraith Lord is smaller than the Avatar. gone OP there with the dual bright lances. A bit OP, perhaps a bit better to have the bright lances on the Wraithknight, but that is not an option, unfortunately. So there you go, that's where it stands next to one of those. And then a Wraith Guard, quite small, but shares a few of the aesthetics, and it's always good to show off a Wraith Guard with its Wraithknight. A normal Eldar Guardian, that is where it stands, and there is the Autarch. So it's going to tower above most of your Aeldari collection if you're going to pick one up, and it will be a centerpiece. You know, if you're going to pick one Lord of War, of which, you know, that is what it is in your Aeldari force, it's going to be the centerpiece of your entire army. If we just take a moment to compare it with the three usual models I always like to compare things with, you've got a normal Space Marine, a Primaris and Slime Marbo, of course. Even a Primaris Space Marine barely passes the sort of shin of the Wraithknight, so that's where it stands next to those. It's going to be a very, very tall model on the battlefield, easy to spot, you know, marching up the field, and it is quite a fast Lord of War too. Speaking of which, we've had to move the camera all the way out as far as we can to get the Wraithknight in to shot for the rest of the review, for the rules. So you will find the Wraithknight at the back of the Eldar specific section of your codex, and it is the only Lord of War choice for Aeldari, and it is a massive power points cost of a 23. Just to put that in perspective, an Avatar of Cain is a power points cost of a 14, so 9 power points more. Points cost wise, it is 400 points compared to the Avatar, which would set you back 270, so it's a whopping 130 points more. Of course, it's going to cost you even more if you buy all the weapons and things. So the Heavy Wraith Cannon is an additional 30 points, the Scatter Laser is 5, Shuriken Cannon's 10, Star Cannon is 15, and the Sun Cannon is 50. So yes, that means to equip it with both of the big cannons, that's an extra 80 points. It's going to be 500. That's going to be 480 points. With the Star Cannons, you're looking at over 500 points there, which is insane. You know, if you're playing like a 2,000 point battle even, you know, it's a quarter of your force in one model. So the Wraithknight, what do you get for all of these points then? Well, it's one of these monster constructs that the number of wounds that it has remaining affects its profile. So it starts off with 22 wounds, and when it has 12 or more wounds remaining, its movement speed is 12 inches. Weapon skill and ballistic skill both 3+, strength is 8, toughness is 8, 5 attacks, leadership 9, and a save of 3+. It's pretty solid. I mean, I would like it to have a save of 2+, but there we go. When it's got between 6 and 11 wounds remaining, its movement speed drops to 10 inches, weapon skill and ballistic skill both drop to 4+. When it has between 1 to 5 wounds remaining, its movement drops to 8 inches, its weapon skill and ballistic skill both drop to 5+. So it's equipped with a Titanic Ghostglaive, Titanic Feet and Scatter Shield. You don't have to pay any extra for that Ghostglaive, you get it already. And it's the same for the Scatter Shield, you're getting them included in your 400 points. You're going to pay more for the Heavy Wraith Cannon and the Sun Cannon. So let's just talk about what it's equipped with first then. The Titanic Ghostglaive, it has 2 profiles, a strike attack or a sweep attack. So the strike attack is a strength +6, so that's strength 14, AP -4, damage 6. Very solid attack there for that strike. Sweep attack is a strength of the user, which is still 8, AP -3, damage 2, and each time an attack is made with this weapon, you make 3 hit rolls instead of 1. That could be horrific. 15, strength 8, AP -3 attacks there. So still the weakest of the 2 attacks, pretty strong. Mine's equipped with a Scatter Shield, which gives it a 4+ invulnerable save. It has an Agile Construct ability, which gives it a 5+ invulnerable anyway. So it's up to you whether you want to have that 4+. I think it's worth it. The Titanic Ghostglaive can be replaced with one of the following: Heavy Wraith Cannon or Sun Cannon. The Scatter Shield can be replaced with Heavy Wraith Cannon. So yes, that does mean that you can have 2 Heavy Wraith Cannons if you wish, or 1 Sun Cannon or 1 Heavy Wraith Cannon. So yeah, the Sun Cannon is, you know, you can only have 1 Sun Cannon with one of these. What does the Heavy Wraith Cannon do? Well, it's a range of 36 inches, it's a heavy D3, strength is 16, AP -4, damage D3 +6. It's a blast weapon, and each time an attack is made with a weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts D3 mortal wounds on the target in addition to any normal damage. That's fantastic. So each time you get the unmodified wound roll of 6, it's possible because it's going to have your heavy D3 shots. You know, the damage is a minimum of 7, but statistically it will be 8. So that Wraith Cannon, although it's only a 36-inch range, it is going to do an awful lot of damage. How does the Sun Cannon fare? Well, that's a bit of a further range weapon. It's a 48-inch range. It's heavy 2d6, so you're getting potentially 12 shots instead of 3. Strength is much lower. It's half the strength at 8, but the AP is -3 and the damage is 3, and it's still blast. So it's still a decent weapon, but having 2 heavy Wraith Cannons at 36-inch range, strength 16, may well be the way to go to take out other knights and constructs and things from range. You've got the Titanic Feat, which is strength of the user, which is 8, AP -2, damage 2, and then you've got the, I say, defense weapons, which consist of a scatter laser, shuriken cannon, or star cannon. It's a shame we can't have any bright lancers on it like the Wraith Lord you can, but the scatter laser works as usual. It's a 36-inch range, heavy 6, strength 6, AP 0, damage 1. Shuriken cannon, 24-inch range, heavy 3, strength 6, AP -1, damage 2, shuriken. And then the star cannon is a 36-inch range, heavy 2, strength 7, AP -3, damage 2. Abilities: Strands of Fate, Wraithbone form. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack to a minimum of 1. That's pretty nice. You're removing that 1 from the damage. Agile construct, I've already said, it gives it a 5+ invulnerable. Unstoppable Revenant. This model is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Each time this model makes a normal move, advances or falls back, it can be moved horizontally across other models, excluding monster and vehicle models as if they were not there. So you can block it in with monsters and vehicles, but everything else it can move. Explodes. When this model is destroyed, you roll 1d6 before removing it from play. On a 6 it explodes, and each unit within 2d6 suffers d6 mortal wounds. Keywords: Aeldari, Azarani, Spirit Host, Monster, Titanic, Wraith Construct, Wraithknight. So there you go. That is my review of the Wraithknight. I think it's an absolutely beautiful model, a really nice kit to build, lots of posability, a decent number of options. Obviously you can have it with a Wraith Cannon or a Sun Cannon. If you get 2 kits, you can have one of them with 2 heavy Wraith Cannons, which might be a way to go. I've equipped mine with the sword and the shield because I want it to be a melee focused one, just to hunt out other Imperial Knights in close combat. And I think at a movement of 12 inches and an invulnerable save of 4+, it has the chance to do that. See, it could be a bit weak against range attacks. It's nice that you're subtracting 1 from the damage characteristic from ranged weaponry though. The 3+ is alright, but where it really shines is its toughness of 8, and it's either 5+ invulnerable or 4+ invulnerable. And having the Sun Cannon or Heavy Wraith Cannon gives you the options of whether you want to have it go after Titans or other heavy armour from range and not be dragged into close combat with other things that could potentially do it damage. What do you guys think of the Wraithknight? I know this review was a long time coming, but I wanted to release it after all of the brand new Eldar models. That's pretty much it for all of the Eldar reviews. Until I pick up another Combat Patrol at some point, please do put your thoughts and opinions about the Wraithknight down below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Avatar protects.